The following podcast is an enticing media production.
Where the Nell have you been? Join us for conversation about life, business, and everything in between. Welcome to What the Nell, where we've got stories to tell. Here's your host, enTICE.
Hello. Welcome back to another brand new episode of the What the Nell podcast with yours truly, enTICE. It is literally yours truly today, as this is my first solo episode of season 3, which I don't know if I'm embarrassed to say that or not, but I've had some really wonderful guests for this season, which I'm so thankful for. One of the things that I'm expressing gratitude for, which is the premises of this episode. But before I dive into it, I want to mention that next week is our content strategy workshop I'm hosting with local photographer Kelly Johnson of Kelly Johnson Photography. And it is Wednesday, August 14th at Kelly's studio in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. If you would like to register for the workshop, go to the content strategy workshop.godaddysite.com. Sign up there. The cost is $20 a person, but lunch is included, as well as all of the value and strategy that you need to help get your content game going strong. So I hope that we will see some of you, many of you, all of you there. That would be amazing. And looking forward to seeing your smiling faces. We've got so much planned. So if you're overwhelmed with content creation, or if you're just getting started, have no idea how to get started, this workshop is for you. And it covers photography, videography, what to do on social media, and how to use your content, repurpose it, all the things. So definitely looking forward to that. But like I said, today I want to dive into something that I don't talk about very often, and I think that people should talk about and do more often, and that's the subject of gratitude. And I know that topic gets floated around so often, and we don't really focus on why it's beneficial or how to do it, because it just seems so simple. Like, how do I show gratitude? Like, say thank you. Like when you're out to dinner, when a server serves something to you, say thank you. Yes, that's one form of gratitude, but I'm talking about diving in a little bit deeper. And before I do, I want to mention what actually sparked the interest for this episode. It is Monday, literally the day before this episode gets released, and I have been wanting to do a solo episode for a while. And I had podcaster's block last week. I normally record a week ahead of time, and I just couldn't think of anything to talk about. And then the weekend happened, and then it became very clear the subject that I wanted to and needed to approach, and that being gratitude. So on Friday, the weekend started with a podcast recording that will come out later in October, I believe. And I was so thankful for being able to do that. I was so thankful. It was in York. It was on location, and York being like an hour away from where I am. So I'm grateful for the fact that I have the ability to be flexible and travel to do something like a podcast recording. And I was grateful for the host for inviting me on. And it was just a really cool experience. I drank some bourbon and had a cigar while recording, so I'm also grateful for that. And, that just really kicked off what was a weekend of glaringly obvious gratitude and who I was surrounding myself with. It was super cool. So after that podcast recording, I met up with a couple of friends for lunch, and we had a really great time. We had a drink. Then I went line dancing with a couple of friends, and I never saw myself as someone that would go line dancing. I think I actually had a point in my life where I made fun of it, and I didn't like country music. I'm still warming up to it. It's not all country music. It's so much fun, and it's a great workout too, honestly. But I really started to realize while I'm line dancing, it's something that I have to focus on because I have to remember the choreography to the dances, and I'm jamming out to music, spending time with friends. It's really something that I can escape some, other stuff that I want to escape from. Like if I've got something going on with work that's stressing me out, it's just a few hours where I can literally leave all of that at home. I'm like in this almost feels like a bunker of a place that I can't see. Like the windows are covered. The people in there are like-minded, and we're just having fun, and we're dancing, and you can escape from whatever reality is for a few hours. And it's just really cool. I don't even want to talk about work. I want to talk about dancing and like all the other new dances that I want to learn and just have fun. So that I'm also grateful for, and the ability to be able to do that. And I've been working on my fitness a little bit lately. When I first started line dancing, I could barely stay out on the floor for a whole dance because I was so out of breath. And I was dancing with some fit people, really in shape people. And I was like, all right, this is my goal. I'm going to get into shape so that I can dance through an entire song and a whole night without having to be so out of breath that I feel like I can't keep up. And so I've been able to accomplish that thus far and learn some dances along the way. I still look a little unhinged on the floor, but that's fine. Everything's fine. And that was my Friday night. And Saturday, the weather was pretty awful towards the end of the afternoon, and there were tons of storms in the area. It was probably one of the stormier days we've had this summer in central Pennsylvania. And we had tickets to a local wrestling show, the Red Rose Rumble 2 at Clipper Magazine Stadium in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, hosted by our friend Jesus Rodriguez. And you've heard me talk about him, I'm sure, in the podcast, if you've ever listened to our radio show, On the Road with Kenny and Nell, or the Drunk Squirrel podcast, produced by enTICEingmedia. You've heard us talk about Jesus and how he's become an amazing friend of ours. And so this is their biggest show of the year. So whether it's raining, storming, snowing, tornadoing, whatever it's doing, we're going to that show. And we're going to support him and his business, Three Legacies Wrestling. Chris Dreisbach, who's been on this podcast more recently. Also, a huge part of that, I was really excited to meet him in person. And these are just two of some of the kindest, nicest humans you could ever meet on the planet. And to see, I think this is what really wrapped up the topic of gratitude for me and solidifying what I was going to talk about today, was seeing how many people did honor their commitment to come and see the show, regardless of the weather or how uncomfortable they would be while sitting in the stands getting rained on. Yeah, it rained, and there was a delay, which was fine. It worked out. Fortunately, no lightning, no thunderstorms or anything, so they didn't have to cancel. They didn't have to postpone or anything, which I'm sure they're grateful for. But it was really cool to see a community of people come out to a show, support, and get a little uncomfortable to be able to provide that support. And I was just happy to be a part of it. And I'm really grateful for what they're doing in the community and how they go about their businesses and run things. And it's just really cool. And I think actually Jesus said something on the Drunk Squirrel podcast recently. What's the point of being successful and going through all of this if you can't take others with you? And there was a moment on the drive down to the actual show where somebody sent me a photo of the podcast of What the Hell up on the video board. And that was pretty moving. And I'm especially grateful for that. And all of the other aspects of what they do and how they created this community and everything. And it just really affected me. So I really wanted to do this episode. So thank you to Jesus and Three Legacies Wrestling and Chris for doing everything that you do. And so if you're listening, hopefully you hear this. If not, that's fine too. But at some point we'll make sure that you know that this episode exists because you are the reason that I'm doing this today. So anyway, before any sort of like tears or anything come into play here, I want to talk about the benefits of practicing gratitude and what that actually means and how you can practice gratitude. Three different reasons. I've chosen three different reasons why it's important to do so. And one of them is that it's good for your mental health. I think this is the top one, most important overall. It helps to reduce your stress and anxiety. And who couldn't use a little bit of that, right? I mean, if you're expressing gratitude, you're practicing it, and you feel the feelings of gratitude, I mean, that certainly trumps any negativity that you might be harboring. And, obviously negative thoughts and that all compounds and eventually wears on you, and it degrades your health overall. Even your physical health. I think that's number 2 on my list is physical health. Increase your energy, get better sleep, rest well, knowing that there are things to be thankful for. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've gone through, what you're doing now, the choices you've made, the choices you haven't even made yet. There's no reason why you can't practice gratitude for one reason or another. And there's always something to be grateful for. And I understand that somebody who's listening to this right now may not be able to see that. That's very possible. There are those seasons of life that we all go through where we just can't find something to be thankful for. But I promise you that if you do actually look deep enough, there is something there that you can be thankful for. So mental health, physical health, and it also strengthens your relationships. Imagine doing something, going through something. This just happened to me last week. I was going through a process that I normally go through that honestly ended up being a little more stressful than it really should have been. And I completed the task. I got it done. Everything worked out in the end. But yeah, it was pretty stressful to go through at the time. And then I got a phone call later that day from a client because it was client work. And a client said, "Hey, I just had to call you and say thank you. You did an amazing job. Just wanted to say thank you." That changed the trajectory of my day, even my week, because of that simple phone call, just saying thank you. And so you have no idea how you could change someone's life just by saying thank you. So those are 3 reasons why gratitude is so beneficial. And I think practicing gratitude, how to do that is something that maybe falls short in the information that's out there and how to do this. And one way that you could do that is keeping a journal. If you're not the type of person that's good at expressing gratitude out loud, which we'll get to a little bit later, journaling is a great way to do that. These are your thoughts and your thoughts alone. You can keep them in a book. You can keep them written on some sort of electronic, like iPad or something like that in your notes app. It can be so simple to do. Just find some pen and paper or that digital outlet and just start making notes. Wake up in the morning. Jot down what you're thankful for that morning. Are you thankful that you woke up? Is that the only thing that you can find? Write it down. And that certainly helps. It also helps to look back on the journaling that you've done when maybe you're not in such a great headspace, and you can find and be reminded of something that you've been thankful for in the past. So journaling is a great way to do that. I don't do it often enough. I kept a diary when I was a kid. Maybe I should go back to diary. Yeah, I think we should all keep a diary, honestly. So the next one, I love to do this, meditation. People tell me all the time, I used to be a yoga instructor. People would tell me all the time, I can't meditate. I can't sit still for 10 minutes and not want to pull my hair out or be alone with my thoughts, because that's really scary for a lot of people. And I think that the phrase "I can't meditate" is premature, because meditation to me is a practice. It's a journey. It's not something that you just sit down and do for the first time and get it. And there's also, along the journey, you might feel like you've gotten it the 5th time you've done it. But the 10th time you did it, maybe you didn't have a great meditation session. That happens too. It's all a path. It's all a journey. And when you're meditating and you're supposed to be clearing your mind, there's that type of meditation. There's also, the type where you have thoughts come in, you welcome them, and then you push them away. That's also great. But take a few moments during your meditation to say thanks, to give gratitude to something. The universe, for being able to breathe. Maybe you're thankful for the fact that nothing is sore in your body today. That's also something to be grateful for. There are so many simple things. Maybe you're grateful for the sunshine or rain. So many things to be grateful for. And I don't think meditation is used often enough for practicing gratitude. And the last way to do this is by expressing it. Tell someone today that you are thankful for them, for something they've done. Or it doesn't even have to be towards you. It could be something that they've done in the community that, you know what, you're making the world a better place. Thank you for doing that. I used to make it a point, and I say used to because I need to get back onto this, but I used to make it a point where every day I would message somebody in the morning and just say, thank you. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being in my circle. Thanks for doing what you do. Just thanks. And a little goes a long way with that. Trust me. So those are the benefits and the tips that I have that I use to practice gratitude, or maybe am saying some of these things out loud to inspire me to use. And so I definitely think I'll be doing that going forward. But I'm really glad that I did this episode today. And I hope that this will inspire at least some of you, even if it's just one person, to practice the gratitude, write something down, tell someone thank you, or realize that it's good for you to do that. And so before I wrap up, I know at the beginning of the episode, I plugged my project, the Content Strategy Workshop, but I'm also going to give you a bit of a special announcement. This might be a surprise to some of you, and actually most of you, because I don't think I've put anything out there about this quite yet, but there is a new series coming to the What the Nell podcast that I am so excited about that you will start to see graphics for very, very soon. But if you are listening to this episode, you are getting the first piece of information about this series. It is called The Ecopreneur's Edge, presented by the What the Nell podcast, and my guest co-host for this one will be none other than Mikey Bentz. Mikey is a staple and proponent of all things Central Pennsylvania, specifically and especially Harrisburg. Mikey has led some march against Monsanto, community organization. I want to call it stuff. That's such a terrible, unprofessional way to say it. But Mikey has really led some group community outings, I'll say that, in Harrisburg. He has Harrisburg's best salon as voted by Harrisburg Magazine. He is also a wealth of knowledge and extreme proponent of the environment. He has two E's in his name. One stands for everyone. The other stands for environment. He's very passionate about products that he uses and sells in his salon, and products that he puts on his body and in his body. We talk about food. We talk about the environment. We talk about finances, business, everything. So the premise behind this series is sustainability in business. And we talk about it all. So it's from a sustainability standpoint, we approach it from all facets, whether that's the environment, longevity, and all the things. We have so many topics that I'm so excited for you guys to hear about. So those are all of the details. That series will be coming soon. I don't have an exact release date yet, but look for that probably a late summer, early fall. We've already recorded some episodes, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear them because they are magic, and I hope you enjoy them. So I want to thank you for listening to this quick hitter episode of the What the Nell podcast. Thank you so much to you, the loyal listener, for being loyal and for listening to this podcast or watching it if you're on YouTube. And also thank you for, if you're watching on YouTube, putting up with my 80s hairband hair today. Probably should talk to Mikey, but I do also have a wonderful hairstylist in Lebanon here where I live. So I support all people in all of the arts and creative spaces. I think that there's so much room for collaboration where we could all work together. And I would love to see that happen, especially in the hair space. But, and that's where Mikey resides, and as well as in his business with his dance studio. So check all of that out. I will link some info below, and look out for that series, The Ecopreneur's Edge, coming up here on the What the Nell podcast. But again, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to continue to do this for you. We are well into season 3 and looking forward to the future. So don't forget, watch the videos, like them, and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you are listening on your favorite audio platform, I so appreciate if you'd leave a review. And if you have questions or any feedback or anything, let me know. I am open to all of it. And if you think that you might be a great guest for the What the Nell podcast, also let me know, and we'll get that process started for you. So in the meantime, I hope you take some time to practice some gratitude today, wherever you are. And as always, thank you so much, and I will catch you on the next one.
To learn more about how to tell your story, connect with Nell at enTICEingmedia.com. That's ENTICEING media.com. Thanks for listening to the What the Nell podcast.